As we were having this kind of disagreement about various viewpoints, like what she believes and what I believe, I realized I didn't give a about what this girl was arguing to me about. Anxiety gets itself a bad rap, and rightfully so. Some of the problems with anxiety, some of the things that it causes is it makes you feel not good enough. It makes you feel worried. It makes you feel nervous. It makes you make mistakes. It makes you sometimes want to kill yourself. It makes you not take action due to fear. It constricts us and it makes us feel overwhelmed. There's all sorts of problems with anxiety. Anxiety can body us. It takes you away from the things that you know you need to do, and then on top of that, it can also just make it so you just stay in your house worried about when your anxiety is going to subside, when you're going to get an anxiety attack next, all these different things. But here's a benefit of anxiety that not a lot of people talk about, and that is that it can actually show us what is important to us and what matters in our life for real. I'm going to explain this a little bit further, but first we'll explain through a story how I kind of came to this conclusion. So I was at this dinner party in Oaxaca with some friends recently, and I was sitting there, hanging out, having a good time, and then my anxiety got triggered by just someone saying one thing, and then it started the hamster wheel running, right? It had me thinking and thinking and thinking, and I was just trying to process it, and I wasn't able to. I was having a tough time at this dinner ever since the trigger started, right? And then after dinner, they shimmied us upstairs to go to this hangout area where we could have tea and desserts and chat more, you know? So we were there, and one of the girls that was there was a friend of a friend. She had very strong opinions on something. And I have very strong opinions on various things as well. And these two strong opinions, they didn't mesh at all. So we got into a little bit of a disagreement. It was a civil one. It was a very civil disagreement. But while this girl was yelling at me, essentially, I started to feel a little bit of that panic attack kind of started setting in again, you know, and I started like looking around, getting a little bit paranoid and things like that. But then as we were having this kind of disagreement about various viewpoints, like what she believes and what I believe, I realized I didn't give a fuck about what this girl was arguing to me about. I realized while I was having this disagreement here that it didn't mean anything to me. There was nothing about this fight that I wanted to continue in any way. It wasn't important, and it was just giving a bad vibe to the situation, you know? I continued actually having this conversation a little bit. Mostly, I just sort of took over and started talking and telling stories and things like that. With the reason for that being, this is actually a technique to kind of stop a panic attack, is get your brain going into a direction where it's going to focus on something else. And in this case, it was intricate story as a way to kind of engage with the conversation, but mostly as a way to overcome this panic attack that was starting to set in, right? So I was able to make this panic attack dissipate a little bit by just engaging in a conversation and telling stories, right? And then for the rest of the night, it kind of was chill, but I did notice that this overthinking thing was going on. And I saw when I got back home and I was sitting in my house just relaxing, there was no relaxing, actually. I ended up staying up till 5 in the morning, overthinking, journaling, writing things out, and pretty much catastrophizing. And I just had all these horrible thoughts in my head, right? When I managed to get some sleep and managed to wake up again, I was good, back to normal. But here's the important lesson here, and something that we can't really take away from anxiety is if I didn't suffer from anxiety, my life would be filled with a lot more disagreements than it actually is. Because when you're in this situation, it's almost like you're having a life or death situation. That's what it feels like. You really get to understand what it is that's important to you. You don't really need to have this one up, you have to win this fucking argument or anything like that. All you actually care about is what are things that are going to dissipate this anxiety, right? What are things that I would be willing to deal with while I'm sitting here suffering from this panic thing that's setting in. So the cool thing about anxiety is it kind of points you in a direction to like what is your North Star in life. So whether it's going to be, is it your job? Is it your spouse? Is it like an argument that you're having? Is it some grudge that you're holding on to? Is that really that important to you over like living a blissful life? Probably not. And so we get caught in this like day-to-day grind of, hey, we got to make money, we got to do this project, we got to do this and this and this. But realistically, none of that actually matters. And the thing that actually matters in our life is our loved ones, spending quality time with people, being focused, you know, don't be distracted when you're with people, maybe going out into nature. All of these things that help you recharge. It helps you put into perspective this is actually what life is about. This is actually why I'm here. I'm actually here to love my fellow person, and a fellow human being. This is what I'm here to do. And we kind of shut off our feelings. We're actually shutting off what it is that we're numb to. If we're having a panic attack, what that does is it heightens all of our senses, right? So you're actually able to pay attention to like, oh, here's the parts of my body where I'm not having a good time. So for example, say you are dehydrated, like maybe I should pay more attention to taking in the proper amount of water. Maybe I should pay attention to just saying nice things to people, because right now would love to have someone say something nice to me, to show me that I'm loved, to give me a hug, something like that, right? When we feel this, it can be used as a guide to be like, oh, this is what we need to do more of in our life as well. So anxiety can help you to actually realize what is important to your life. You can listen to your body. You can mend those relationships. You can actually focus on work that matters to you, because in the grand scheme of things, if you're doing a job that you aren't passionate about, if you're doing something that you don't love to do, then when you're in an anxiety situation where you think that this is like your last couple moments on this earth, realistically, you don't want to be doing accounting. You don't want to be doing like whatever it is, like cold calling people for your job, whatever that is. You actually want to be focused on doing something that actually is a passion project and something that you think is going to be good for other people, right? We want to focus on things like that. And then on top of this, in terms of, as a little side note, with a benefit of obsessive compulsive or overthinking, I know a lot of us overthink a lot. We can't sleep at night because we're just staying up thinking. We can actually make something productive over those, like we're having a lot of thoughts, and it actually helps us, like, hey, maybe sit down and just start writing down your ideas. Maybe there's something there that you're needing to process, and the fact that you can't see, it's kind of your body and your spirit telling you, hey, maybe there's something here we need to take a look at. So instead of drowning it out by like distracting yourself or doing whatever it is you're going to do so you can sleep, or like taking pills so that you can get to bed easier. Say, for example, a lot of people take Xanax because like they can't sleep, so I'm just going to take a Xanax and then I'll be able to sleep. It's like, instead of that, why don't we transition and use that overthinking as a way that we can benefit? So quick example here is I was suffering heavily from this overthinking obsessive compulsive problem last year quite a bit, and one of the things that I was able to do, I wasn't able to sleep the one night. I just stayed up writing, and I came up with all these intense game plans for what I'm going to do for now, what I'm going to do in the future, visualizing what my future is going to look like. And I was able to use that, and that kind of exhausted my brain. Then I went to bed, then woke up, and I was able to look at it and it's like, wow, there's some very useful information in here, right? So it's not all bad. And one of the things that we can do is, like, instead of being like, oh, this sucks, this is horrible, this is the worst time ever with our anxiety, with our panic disorder, because realistically it does feel like that. But if we're actually able to take a look at it and be like, actually, maybe me suffering right now is exactly what I need. Maybe this position I'm in where I can't sleep, maybe I can't sleep because there's some information that I'm about to uncover, and it could just be a gift for us. So these are some of the pros to anxiety. No one talks about the pros. It's all negative. How do we stop it? How do we do this? Maybe there's actually some benefits in there. Maybe we don't need to, like, whatever anxiety situation that we're feeling, maybe, yeah, we feel like it sucks, but there could be some things in there that you can dig out and actually get some benefits to it. When you're going through a panic attack, listen to what your body wants. Maybe it's water, maybe it's to eat healthier, something like that. And this is a very good benefit of psychedelics. It tells you all of these things that are super obvious and we know them, but it teaches them to you on a very intense level. And when we go through a panic attack, it can kind of provide a similar experience, because you're kind of put into this fight or flight mode. You're focused on certain things, and you can actually pick out there's hints there that shows you what is important to you in your life. What do you actually want to work on? Because I'm sure when you're sitting there having a panic attack and people are talking to you about whatever logical nonsense about like traffic signals and setting up electricity grids in the city, I'm sure you don't care. And you probably realize that, and you're like, wait, like, this is not what I'm focused on right now, right? And you can use that as a tool to redirect, like, hey, maybe where do I actually want to focus on? What is it that I actually care about? So that's those are just a couple of the actual benefits of anxiety. No one really talks about it. Everyone just tries to get rid of it, right? Like, how is it that we can get rid of it? But we can also take into account, maybe there's a reason that we're feeling this anxiety, and maybe there's a lesson here that we are supposed to be picking up. So I'll leave you with that pretty much. One other thing to touch on is, like, when I'm going through panic attack, I realize that, like, what is it that I want to pay attention to? I want to pay attention to, like, hanging out with my family, eating healthy, hanging out with my friends, joking around, not having arguments, all these simple things in life, like just enjoying my time, enjoying the present moment. These are all simple things, and the simple things in life, the best things in life and the most important things in life, are actually free. We don't need them. We don't need to make $1 million. If you think you need to make millions of dollars, depends on the reasoning for doing it. Like there's a hidden, there's a lot of stuff behind all that. So having anxiety actually helps push you in that direction where you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And yeah, I'll leave you with that right now. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a thought here in terms of, hey, maybe next time you're having a panic attack or next time you're struggling with anxiety or overthinking, worrying, maybe you can actually dive into it and explore those thoughts, and maybe there's some lessons in there. So one thing that I would love for you to do is, in the comments, write down some actual benefits, some things that you've discovered through your anxiety that have actually helped you out. So not a lot of people talk about the benefits, the pros of anxiety. So that's what we can talk about in the comments, and let's have a discussion about it. Take care.